Can you show the cave, Joey?
Oh yeah, I want to talk about the cave. So this was something that we litigate for unreasonable delays, and then during COVID, there were some delays with filings, and it was like access to this cave, and it was just like this. I don't know. It just reminds me of Batman or something. And now, Michael, you're here. Maybe you can explain a little bit more about this cave, what it is it still being used, and why there were issues, during COVID times with
Sure.
this.
Yeah, no, but I remember that well. So thanks for thanks for the litigation. Actually, it helped me. Um, so thank you. I say that sincerely. It did sound flippant. So the cave, right, is I guess more officially known as the National Records Center at USCIS, and it is the series of underground, I want to say limestone, but very dry caves in the Kansas City, Missouri area and Lee Summit. And as you see, you drive in and you drive down these long hallways, and I think other agencies use them as well to store records. But USCIS certainly had millions and millions and millions of files, and many of them active, right throughout. Like right down the road from me in Maryland, there is archives center that has some old and retired files, but these are active files within the last decade or so. So really important to the use of adjustment of status, of citizenship, of all the things, right? Because of the USCIS guidelines at the time, and I'm sure they are still. This is when you get to citizenship, we pick your file up and we look through it to make sure that nothing was missed and you're still eligible and all of that. So access to the records at the cave is paramount to, just a healthy and effective immigration system. And again, I know people have opinions about how healthy and how effective it is. This is really important. So during COVID, what came to pass is the people at the National Records Center had I would give them all the credit in the world, which I didn't at the time. I think I was more of a critic, but they had a super conservative COVID social distancing approach. And, it's people's jobs to drive down into the cave and pick the right file, the bottom left on your screen, to pick the right file from those boxes and to put it in a scanner or to put it in the mail and send it to the office in New York or Memphis or whatever, so that the USCIS person can use it. Their super conservative COVID social distancing, if you remember all that, right? You had to worry about how buildings were, how you could walk through a building, how the air was circulated through the building, and all that. They said to us, hey, we're the record center and we can only give you X number of files a month. Which do you want? Right. And so all of the all of the USCIS was using tens of thousands of files per month for all of its reasons, or hundreds of thousands. And the number that they said was much smaller than that. So again, there was a big sort of food fight about who was going to get the files and what was most important. But it was all built on what was this COVID restriction. And then, the good people sued and said, hey, what's going on? Our cases aren't being moved. And that actually helped them find a much more, it helped them change their COVID restrictions for movement to get more files out of the cave, so that we could actually keep our people busy. And that's why I said it helped me. I had field offices that couldn't get work, and what do you do with people? And that was the daily problem I had. So breaking that logjam. So thank you.
I'll say you're welcome for suing. No problem. We're happy to do it, and it's still being used today.
Yeah, it's still being used today. There's millions and millions of files. One of the floors is completely empty, or not completely empty, but is very empty, and it is just a big scanning facility. So instead of mailing the files, they say they scan them instead, and that helps us with with the agency's digitization efforts. But still in use.
Right. Well, we have only, I think, 5-10 minutes left. I want to sort of look ahead about future stuff. What do you think USCIS could do to improve transparency? If you have these dashboards, why are they not giving us the I-485 adjustment data based on preference category so that we can do the work?
The easiest thing would be to expose that data. It's real. There are certainly privacy rules for what data you can and can't, but I think the agency can manage those quite easily. And yeah, I mean, what do you want? Predictability and reliability. If we're stuck with the system that Charlie described, and the law says we can only do so much, and we should distribute it evenly by quarter, why not just show your work, right? Go back to middle school geometry, show your work.
Yeah,
I think, and it's all there, so it'd be easy to expose. I don't know how the State Department coordination piece would look, but smart people could figure it out.
right. Well, looks like we got ourselves a FOIA request ready to go on that one, so that's good. Or I guess an ongoing FOIA request. What about automation and things like that? Is that something that you saw USCIS really pick up on? And I guess that kind of gets into, I don't know if this is automation, but just like the additional screening and social media, and now we're talking about public charge stuff. I mean, I know those are all different topics, but I'm just trying to understand, like, do you see USCIS moving? How can attorneys sort of best prep their clients for successful adjudications on this stuff?
Yeah, I've been asked this a few times, and someone came up to me recently and said, I work really hard at doing my national interest waiver write-ups, and if I'm just going to feed it to an AI machine, should I just build my own AI machine and have the machines talk to each other and perfect it out? And I thought that was a really provocative question, because it made me consider, how is this going? So, the agency is thirsty for technology. I loved it, using, I think we called them robots or machines to sift through the data and do little tasks for us, or just sort the cases. This case has none of the factors that would make it a complicated case, so we're going to give an officer 30 minutes for it, whereas the Valverde case needs 120 minutes because my bankruptcies and my jail record, whatever. So technology is great, and it allows for a lot of efficiency. But long-winded answer, but what that person's question made me think about is that, for all of everything that people are saying about USCIS right now, they're very transparent about their priorities, right? It is to make sure the process, if there's fraud, they're going to seek it out, to make sure there's, unimpeachable integrity. I'll try to use their words in the process. So so it's an investment, right? So you hit it, social media. When I was there, social media was a very manual thing. If there is a problem in Valverde's file, then a human looks at my social media and says, is there anything in there, right? My marriage is, who's that woman I'm on vacation with, because that's not who I'm adjusting with or whatever, but it's a human. But I would think that the agency, and, I know ICE is doing this and DHS is one big family in this way. The investments that they're going to make in technology is going to be around supporting the enforcement side, right? So building that thing that finally does allow the agency to find the needle in the haystack. Hey, Valverde lived at this address 10 years ago, as did all these other bad people, and we should ask them about that, or whatever the things that humans can't see. So I think I would say, if I could answer better to that person who asked me before, I don't know that the agency's priority right now is building a better NIW evaluator through AI, but it is building a better fraud detector through AI. So yes, they love technology, but I think right now the money is all going to go towards fraud. And what does that mean? Picking out site visits, scraping data, and whatever data is available to connect people to bad actors, that sort of thing.
Can I ask one question, Michael? Because you're talking about technology and use of technology. And recently they announced that certain I-140s can be filed online. So where was the discussion there? Do you see more cases being able to be filed online? Because right now we just have H-1B, and then we have I-140s in the employment-based context. But there are others, like N-400 and other things, that could be filed online. So where do you think the agency is moving towards in that?
Yeah, no. So when I was there, the career managers, plan or best outcome was that everything happened online. Again, you get access to all the data. You can, it's immediately in the dashboard. You can slice it and dice it in ways that help efficiency. And this crowd, obviously, you can slice it and dice it in ways that help you find people who try to cheat the system. So online filing, so what happens now, right, is I'm sure you guys spend a lot of time on your laptop writing things and correcting things, and then you print them out and you mail them in. And then someone gets them and they scan them in and use optical character recognition. So it exists in paper for that period of time where the mail takes it or the UPS takes it to the facility. Skipping that step is just it saves money and it gets us more information because the scanning and entering isn't perfect. So that's everything to just sort of efficiency, and it's probably everything towards the fraud ends of this current administration.
So you think we'll see more online filing opening up?
I should actually answer the question. Yes. Little by little, one by one. If you do 485s in your practice, you will have seen different 485s go on. I'm trying to think from a user's perspective, at least from an inside the government perspective. The back end has been digitized form by form. So refugee asylum, employment-based, family-based, one by one, they became digitized work for us. What happens is there's a lag, but then there's a digital front end that will come back. So yes, I think form by form, you'll be able to do online filing.
Well, just for real world, when we file our H-1Bs online, we get a faster adjudication.
Yeah.
And we've heard from clients who file their B2 extensions online, they sometimes get same day adjudication.
Or I-90s too. Those
I-90s.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, the government has tools to do like an I-90 almost immediately, right? Because that is, to me, the simplest adjudication. Are they a permanent resident? Yes or no. Whatever else we check, but just about all of it are yes or no things that we have in systems, and we can tell the system, tell us the ones where there's a no where there should be a yes, and then we'll give it to a human. But when there's a yes in every place that there should be a yes, it's almost like, yeah, you can do it right away. And that's the kind of thing that online filing and technology gives you, is this ability to choose your work and know ahead of time before you give it to a human which work deserves that human's brain, and which work is almost like EADs, I-90s, even advanced parole should be all very easy to put through that. And then it's just a comfort level. Or is the administration or the politicals comfortable with that, or are they not? I'd say this group is probably less comfortable with some of that automation just because of the place they're coming from in terms of their war and fraud, quote unquote. The last administration had a higher comfort level on that, especially for EADs. And I remember thinking, when you have an unemployment of 2%, a mistake on an EAD, while regrettable, has less consequences than a mistake on a green card or something else.
Michael, I really appreciate your insight and your willingness to come and speak to us. And I think we'll maybe do some more of these on other items in the future if you have us. So I really appreciate it. Charlie, your insight is always incredible. And this is where you guys can contact us. If you're listening on YouTube afterwards, please feel free to reach out. And Charina, I'll let you finalize.
Yeah. Thank you to Michael. And then also Charlie, of course, always thank you. And if you have any questions, you can send an email here and we'll let you know when we have our next webinar. But thank you for joining us. And thank you, Joey.
Thanks. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.